For people coming in, we'll kind of get it going. And then kind of the framework of how these works, it's about a 15, 20 minute kind of teach, then kind of get questions. Try to keep it around 45 minutes to an hour. Obviously, we'll stay later if we need to. But what we're going to talk about this is really the perfect calendar. This right here fundamentally changed the way I do my entire day. I got this from a great mentor of mine about a year and a half ago, and it really shifted the intentionality of what we do whenever we build your day, your week, your month, your year. A lot of people have talked about the quote big ass calendar. Super cool. A lot of people use that. It's a great resource. I use one. I have one on my wall right over there. But I think it's really important to understand is you have to be very intentional about building. And if you're not, then you end up just kind of going with the wind. And that can go in the military, it can go separated, it can go when you get out. So it's very important to understand how we're building, what we're thinking, and building and intentionality. And I say this always. So I'm going to share my screen here in a second, but if you have a journal, I always recommend getting a journal out. What I do on most coaching programs that I do and run is get one journal for each program. So this is my journal for another coaching program that I'm in. So I advise everyone to grab one journal and just take notes in every week. That way you can reflect on it, or, hey, you might be thinking about this Friday night and you can go back and go, oh, that one time, then let me go check it out. So with all due respect, here we go. We'll share the screen, share, and okay. I'll just open it in Adobe. All right, there we go. Okay, everyone should be able to see the screen now. So here is the way we're gonna work on this. So what I want to tell people is you always want to be very intentional about what you build, how you build it. You basically become your thoughts whenever you start planning things. And that's why I say you have to be very intentional. And a lot of people don't think about this. So this is a simple framework. And what I want people to get out of this is a simple framework. The second thing is what to focus on next. That's what we do. That's why we do weekly coaching calls here, is so everyone has a thing they can work on to the next idea. This is more of a workshop type call, but it's just very, very specific of how we do it. So perfect calendar, like I said, this personally changed the entire way I do business, both personal and entrepreneur and everything else. So what the big thing you want to do is you want to build your vision. And what does it mean to build your vision? It means dream, let the creative thoughts go. Stack big rocks first. That's the big ones, right? The careers we're at, where do I want to live? Am I married? Am I not married? Do I want to be married? No, and I say no one's going to hold you to it. And this is the big takeaway. One of a simple framework is give yourself space to hold a duality thought. Two thoughts. I want time off and I want to make money. A lot of people associate you can't have time off and make money. So you can hold two thoughts that might be opposed in your mind at the same time. And when I say dare to dream, I love doing this by going on a walk, by working out, by getting up, shoot, go to a park, go wherever you need to go to, but you have to start dreaming. You have to start thinking. You have to unlock your mind to really start building visions, because sometimes you get tunnel vision in the day-to-day business. So, walking, meditating, journaling can really unlock your mind. And that's the whole thing, is what we're trying to do is we're trying to get these creative thoughts we have out to build this vision of where do I want to be at? What does it look like? You have to be very intentional. In the next couple slides, we're going to go through a couple questions that have helped me, and it's important to go through these. And why are we talking about this in military money movement? Because money mindset is one of the most important things we have to identify. Because if you don't identify your money mindset, you end up building incorrectly. You end up building to, let's say, max revenue, max W-2, And then you can end up destroying your family down here. You can end up destroying, you know, other aspects of your life because we're not doing our vision. And that's why I really focus on mindset of simple things such as this. So, what I want everyone to do is if you have your journal or piece of paper, I got a printer next to me, I grab a sheet out, start writing down a vision, one dot dream. Okay. We're going to upload this PowerPoint in the Military Money Movement course. So, it will live in there. This PDF will live in there to be referred to as much as you need to. I use this once a year. The other idea is if you kind of get stuck in one of these, I don't know what I should be doing. I'm separating. Maybe I should be doing this, or maybe you have a job opportunity coming up. We kind of fall back to this. And I love the third bullseye in here is no one's going to hold you to it. You are 100% allowed to change your definitions. And that is why we'll talk about in a second is what are the definitions. And so it's really important to understand that you hold these to yourself. Obviously, if you have a spouse and significant other and you're going to make some big rock changes, yeah, let's get people included. But you are allowed to change. And that's one of the best things I love. And even if you're active duty, you're a service member, you can change too, right? You can go from, hey, instead of staying up later, I'm gonna go to bed early. Like there's things you can do to change to get the vision you want, but all starts with dreaming the thoughts. And I'm really big on this. So if this doesn't land with some people, I apologize, but that's not why you're in here. If you have a thought of inspiration, think of it, that's inspiration is inspired. That is a kind of download to you of inspiration, of a vision to think big. And I often tell people visions can also be, they don't have to be monetary. They can be quality of life. They can be a location. They can be a spending more time with someone. It doesn't have to be, I want a 10x revenue or I want $1 million. It can be be very specific. So here's the next section we're gonna look at. Here's some primer questions. Okay. There's a lot in here. Don't worry about writing them down. Not worried about that. What I am saying is these are some questions of like, where do I want to live? You know, where I live, I love living where I'm at. I've been here for 7 years. It's a golf cart community. Kind of funny. Our kids drive golf carts. And I like it here. Are there other areas in the US that I think would be fun to live or internationally? Sure. But right now, this is great where we're at. You know, what time do you want to start work? And I can tell you some of my personal beliefs, but this goes into you're building a perfect calendar, your perfect day, your perfect week, your month, and then you go to your year. You know, and when you wake up, what's the first thing you want to do? And this is a little different too. Sometimes I check my phone when I get up. It's my alarm clock, it's next to me, and some people would say, don't do that, leave your phone out of the room. This isn't a right or wrong. This is just saying, what do you want to do? Because what the intentionality you create is what you'll end up doing. And then you'll start building that way. And then what happens is you start stacking, right? So it's going to be messy maybe for the first year as you shift into being very intentional about your calendars and all that. Well, the next year's going to get better. The next year's going to get better. You know, what does your work day look like? Even for active duty people, if you're on duty and all that stuff, that's okay. But be intentional about what you want your day to look like. And I also add this one in here. What do you want your home to feel like when you get off of work? That's something that a lot of people don't think about, especially type A, hard charters, military people, our significant others usually support us a lot. And then we get home and they kind of get the worst version of us. So it's really important to understand like another primary question is like, what do you want your home to feel like? And that's a very important question. If you have a spouse, definitely dig into that. Or if you have maybe a dog, maybe you don't have a spouse and you have a dog, like, okay, well, maybe it's taking your dog out and walking and all that stuff. Here's some other good questions. Here's one that is really tough for people. What are some ways that you reconnect with yourself? And these are questions to stimulate thought. Take one of these questions, go for a walk. Take one of these questions, go meditate on it. Take one of these questions and really dig in, journal on it. What do you want to do for personal fulfillment? Okay. The world tells you money is personal fulfillment to a degree. Maybe it's something different. Maybe it could be, I don't know. It's something for you to define. How do you spend time with family? What does that look like? How do you spend time with family? One of mine is I try to turn this off when I'm with my kids when they get off of school. I try to stop work by 1500. That's when they get off the school bus. For the most part, that's what we try to do. How do your friends describe you? That's a pretty deep one. But it's very important. That's why I tell people it's very important to start asking these questions as we start building our perfect uh, day, week, month, and our year. All right. What emotions do you feel throughout the day? How do you feel about work? What are three things? And like I said, what this will do is it'll start stimulating, and then you kind of get into like a time audit, which this uh, quick workshop is not for the time audit. We'll talk about that in another section. But where's your next vacation? And the reason why is what has helped me is always looking forward. When you look back, it usually is messy, but you look back like, I should have done that, should have done this. Like when you look forward, you have you're creating. And it's very important to be creating, as I call it. And, but you want to build, what do I look forward to every night? You want to build your day. You want to build your week. And as you do this, then it will start resetting a new habit pattern. That's what we're going at too, is for your military, for your money mindset is you want to make sure our mind is in the correct spot and not what emotion do you feel during the day should not be, I'm very anxious because I need to make money. That's not a healthy mindset. And so some of these, your career might change a little bit as you go through these or say, you know what, actually I like doing this and not that. And so that's really the point of some of these questions is really to stimulate that. But this presentation will be uploaded that you can download. Okay. Open questions. Okay. These are great journaling questions. Meditate, walking, running, however it is. My version of wealth has changed dramatically. And for everyone on here, if you're listening, for everyone who listens to this recording, give yourself a definition. My original version of wealth was a number. I always heard you need a number to retire. What number is it? This X, that X, this amount of number, this amount of cash flow. And then as I evolved through this process, like I said, started about a year and a half ago, as Steve Tunn evolved through this process, wealth to me became being present with the ones I love, kids, wife, family, taking a phone call, being present, not thinking about work. What did that mean? That meant for me, I had to shift the way my perfect day looked. That meant I had to shift the way I run a company. That means I had to shift the way because I wanted to be present. I wanted to be where my feet are is where wealth is to me. Can I be with you guys? I'm with you guys right now, August 6th at 1:45. Present with you guys. This is wealth to me. What is happiness? What is freedom? What is success? And I want everyone to really dive in to your definition. And you have the freedom to change these definitions as you evolve because your perfect day might change a little bit. We unexpectedly ended up homeschooling a kid last year for a little bit. And some of these things change because now it's like, hey, success is a little bit different for this season of life than the next one. So I really emphasize people is create definitions, and then as you evolve, you can change them. But really focus in on what you're going after. And you don't want to just build to build, right? So, happiness is an emotion from usually a set of events that was accomplished. So happiness would be like you feel happy on Friday afternoon because you've completed the work for the week. That's an emotion you feel of happiness and you're completing something. So, happiness could be of various things. But I just want to share with people, be very intentional. And these are not my definitions. I just shared my wealth one, but these are for you to figure out. This will start unlocking your mindset and it will help your money mindset, military money, but this will start unlocking your mindset for you. Okay. Write an account of a perfect day in life for you. So if you have your journal or you do it later, we're not going to pause too much here, but I want everyone to write out their perfect day starting when they wake up. A lot of times people say your perfect day actually starts when you go to bed because sleep's very important. And so some people are like, my perfect day starts at 9 p.m. because I'm going to get 8 hours of sleep. Actually, this week's been kind of cool. My wife and I have been very focused on going to bed. So 9:40 is when we're trying to go to bed every night. And we try to get up at 6 o'clock every single day. School bus runs early. So we try to get up kind of ahead of the kids. But write out, be very intentional. Write it out, look at it. And I'm serious, write it out, look at it. Hey, from, you know, 6:30 to 8:30, get the kids ready. From 8:30 to 9:30, call my mom. From 9:30 to whatever, walk the dogs. From this, I'm gonna, whatever it looks like for you. But just be very intentional about it, and you will find you'll start creating a new habit of the perfect day, of the perfect week. And when you anchor them in those questions we did earlier, what's going to happen is that you're really going to start unlocking you kind of your soul. You actually unlock yourself a little bit, and you're going to find yourself like, man, I'm a little bit happier than the people around me. I'm a little bit happier than these people. And it's never a comparison, but it's like, no, you're intentional. Some people are, the majority of people are not intentional about how they live. So that's why I focus very heavy on building a perfect calendar. And I'm telling you, and you're gonna have bad days. There's days that business comes and blows up my phone and teams doing this and that. But the baseline should be what you create, not, the whipsaw of the day. So you always want to fall back to that baseline of the perfect calendar. All right, mapping. List the things you want to make time for each week. This goes to designing the life you want. And this is special. And I really emphasize people is design. And when I say design, when you start designing, quote, maybe as an artist, things are going to change. The canvas changes, right? But be very intentional of what you want. Obviously, you have kids. I got 3 kids. These days are filled up in the afternoon, right? But do we have time for date night with a spouse? Or maybe if you don't have time in the evening, maybe you do it during lunch. Like be very intentional what you want to do. I say just write it on a sheet of paper. I got the big ass calendar over there. That's a great calendar to work off of. But the more intentional you are, the more the stress comes down because you know what we're going to be doing. And we're designing. That's why I keep going back to you're designing your perfect calendar. And with the questions above, when we build it through your soul, it actually is going to be very calming and you're going to start doing a lot of great things. And that's what I love about this. This is the roadmap to do great things. This is the roadmap to build your life the way you want to build it. Mapping. What does the perfect month look like? List the things you'd like to do each month if you were living the ideal life. Same thing. On your sheet of paper, take January, February, March. And I think it's important to, we had the primer questions up top, and now we're getting into the granular things of putting things on your calendar. For instance, on our perfect calendar over here, I'm looking at it. We have some mortgage conferences I need to go to. We're going to go to a Braves game. We're going to, like, they're already on the calendar. I know they're happening. And if you're a service member, spouse, active duty, veteran, whatever you're at in life, if you have kids, you're always trying to make sure you do enough. And it kind of sticks with you. And so one way is if you already put on the calendar, hey, I'm gonna do this stuff. Okay, check. We know we're doing this. I don't need to keep thinking I need to sometimes you're like, oh, I wish I could do more for the kids. I wish I could do this. It's like, no, we're good. We're doing this for the kids. Okay, spouse, you're on it. Cool, we're good. This is what we're doing. So but that's an intentional calendar. That's the perfect calendar. So now we're gonna do the month. And what do you think next is? The perfect year. How many weekends you want to be away? How many vacations? Now, this is a fun one, right? We're dreaming here when you're walking, thinking, okay, what does the perfect year look like? And honestly, these are all the fun ones. But maybe it's, hey, you know what? I'm going to reconnect with a family member. Maybe it's, I should reconnect with some coworkers or at the church or wherever it is. These are for you. These are just frameworks. And that's what we're talking about. We're giving you a framework to work within. The better the framework, the better the plan. So, perfect year, 2025, underline, dot, 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 dot. Put some stuff up there. And you can almost say these are kind of like soft goals, but these are for you to change too. So don't think you can't change these because you can. Something might happen. What about professionally? All my service members out there who are separating. Okay. All right. Now the fun part. You got to pay for this stuff somehow. So as we put all that stuff in there, now we start doing some simple math. And this goes to the money side, right? So working on our mindset now, like, hey, we're going to pay for this stuff. Maybe we start adding some of these things up to travel, and the travel, it's a little bit more than I thought. And so we pare it back a little bit. And that's what we're trying to do here. We're building a very intentional within the budget we have. Or maybe we're going to go use a resource on base. Maybe we're going to do an MWR stay instead of going over here. Maybe we, like, that's what I'm trying to let people see is like we're working on the mindset. Now we're going to bring in the money side of it and really start building these in. And by the way, events, Vet Ticks is a great place to go. I just went to a soccer for free with my kids. It was amazing. Like, there's some cool things you can do as a veteran in the military to help design this stuff. And that's really what we're going to show you to do. But we're showing you the framework. So we have those primer questions. Now we're building the week or the day, the week, the month, the year in a simple sketch. You can put it on your journal. And now we're going to price out. We got to make sure we pay for it. And that's the frameworks of what we're building out. Okay. Non-negotiables. Share it with your spouse. Share it with a friend. If you don't have a spouse, I'd recommend sharing it with your spouse before a friend, just technique. But make some non-negotiables. Hey, you know what? I'm going to focus on drinking more water. I'm going to focus on going to bed on this. I'm going to focus on, hey, these next 3 months, it's going to be a push in business. This transition, during this transition, I need to reach out to 5 of my previous military members. Maybe they can help me get a job somewhere. You got to find non-negotiables. And then what can you implement now that costs free? And that's what I love doing. So now we've written all this stuff out. We're very intentional about it. We're journaling. We're doing this. What can you implement now? Cost free. If you're a military service member and you're transitioning out and you need to reconnect with some previous, squadron mates, military mates, shipmates, LinkedIn's a great resource. You can get a free account there, start connecting with them. Hey, I'm getting out of the military. Hey, what can we do now? Hey, I'm gonna start drinking some more water today. You don't have to wait for these. And that's a part of, we have the daily framework, and now we're kind of putting the non-negotiables, what I call it, they keep the framework together. So you have your perfect day. Well, let's put some non-negotiables to make sure we stay on that because your perfect day is going to be your baseline. And I get it. Some days, maybe a week, you're off baseline, but we know we can do the non-negotiables to keep us right on the baseline. Okay. Now that we're done with this exercise, we've been going for a little bit. We're going to talk, where did you play it safe at? Okay. Maybe a month from now, let's redo this exercise. Maybe you have a spouse do it with you. And here's what I really love getting across to people. And I really want everyone to listen. This is a very important fact. You can hold 2 beliefs that are, I would say, society opposite that can be true. Society will tell you you have to work your tail off to make a lot of money. That is true. I want to spend a lot of time with my family and make a lot of money. Society's going to say, maybe that only select few can do that. 2 opposing beliefs. Absolutely, it's true. You can build systems, you can build companies to make money and spend time with your family. You can be a service member and have a side hustle that's very successful. People say, no, absolutely. I know plenty of military people who are active duty who have side hustles. And so you can hold 2 beliefs at once. And the main thing here is, am I content, but can I imagine myself being more? And that's why you kind of keep redoing this exercise. But it's important to, I say, push the limits every once in a while. But once you get the baseline, I say we sit in it, then you redo it. And then as this goes into the months, as it goes into the years, You're going to get better at this. And then your baseline with those non-negotiables really will keep you steady on exactly how to do this. All right, questions. This is a lot of information. So we have the framework. Okay. We take our journal, we build our perfect week, our day, week, month, and year. A lot of times people say your day starts when you go to bed the night before. If that's how you like to do it that way. That's the framework we're going to build. We're going to get that perfect day with those primer questions. And then we're going to put non-negotiables on to keep us on the path, to keep us that baseline where it's at. And here's the thing. We have the definitions that define it. And you know what? Maybe you do it and you end up tweaking and say, you know what? I don't actually like doing that. That actually doesn't work. Or what I thought would bring me happiness isn't really bringing me enjoyment to the soul. I'm going to focus on this over here. You have the power to change your definitions, but this is the perfect calendar. It has impacted me significantly, and I hope it helps all of you guys out too.